Day 38, Egypt and Exodus, Exodus 19 through 20, Leviticus 13, Psalm 73. Let's begin. Exodus 19:20. In the 3rd month of the departure of Israel from the land of Egypt, in that day, thus setting out from Rephidim, and going directly to the desert of Sinai, they encamped in the same place, and there Israel pitched their tents away from the region of the mountain. Then Moses ascended to God. And the Lord called to him from the mountain, and he said, This you shall say to the house of Jacob, and announce to the sons of Israel. You have seen what I have done to the Egyptians, in what way I carried you upon the wings of eagles, and how I have taken you for myself. If therefore you will hear my voice, and you will keep my covenant, you will be to me a particular possession out of all people. For all the earth is mine. And you will be to me a priestly kingdom, and a holy nation. These are the words that you will speak to the sons of Israel. Moses went, and calling together those greater by birth among the people, he set forth all the words which the Lord had commanded. And all the people responded together, Everything that the Lord has spoken, we shall do. And when Moses had related the words of the people to the Lord said to him, Soon now, I will come to you in the midst of a cloud, so that the people may hear me speaking to you, and so that they may believe you continuously. Therefore, Moses reported the words of the people to the Lord, who said to him, Go to the people, and sanctify them today, and tomorrow, and let them wash their garments. And let them be prepared on the 3rd day. For on the 3rd day, the Lord will descend, in the sight of all the people, over Mount Sinai. And you will establish limits for the people all around, and you will say to them, Take care not to ascend to the mountain, and that you do not touch its parts. All who touch the mountain shall die a death. Hands shall not touch him, but he shall be crushed with stones, or he shall be pierced through with darts. Whether it be a beast or a man, he shall not live. For when the trumpet begins to sound, perhaps they might go up toward the mountain. And Moses came down from the mountain to the people, and he sanctified them. And when they had washed their garments, he said to them, Be prepared on the 3rd day, and do not draw near to your wives. And now, the 3rd day arrived, and the morning dawned. And behold, thunders began to be heard, and also lightning flashed, and a very dense cloud covered the mountain, and the noise of the trumpet resounded vehemently. And the people who were in the camp were fearful. And when Moses had led them out to meet God, from the place of the camp, they stood at the base of the mountain. Then all of Mount Sinai was smoking. For the Lord had descended over it with fire, and smoke ascended from it, as from a furnace. And the entire mountain was terrible. And the sound of the trumpet gradually increased to be louder, and extended to be longer. Moses was speaking, and God was answering him. And the Lord descended over Mount Sinai, to the very top of the mountain, and he called Moses to its summit. And when he had ascended there, he said to him, Descend, and call the people to witness, lest they might be willing to transgress the limits, so as to see the Lord, and a very great multitude of them might perish. Likewise, the priests who approach toward the Lord, let them be sanctified, lest he strike them down. And Moses said to the Lord, The people are not able to ascend to Mount Sinai. For you testified, and you commanded, saying, Set limits around the mountain, and sanctify it. And the Lord said to him, Go, descend. And you shall ascend, and Aaron with you. But let not the priests or the people transgress the limits, nor ascend to the Lord, lest perhaps he may put them to death. And Moses descended to the people, and he explained everything to them. And the Lord spoke all these words. I am the Lord your God, who led you away from the land of Egypt, out of the house of servitude. You shall not have strange gods before me. You shall not make for yourself a graven image, nor a likeness of anything that is in heaven above or on earth below, nor of those things which are in the waters under the earth. You shall not adore them, nor shall you worship them. I am the Lord your God, strong, zealous, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the sons to the 3rd and 4th generation of those who hate me, and showing mercy to thousands of those who love me and keep my precepts. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. For the Lord will not hold harmless one who takes the name of the Lord his God falsely. Remember that you are to sanctify the day of the Sabbath. For 6 days you will work and accomplish all your tasks. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God. You shall not do any work in it, you and your son and your daughter, your male servant and your female servant, your beast and the newcomer who is within your gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and the sea, and all the things that are in them, and so he rested on the 7th day. For this reason, the Lord has blessed the day of the Sabbath and sanctified it. Honor your father and your mother, so that you may have a long life upon the land, which the Lord your God will give to you. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not speak false testimony against your neighbor. You shall not covet the house of your neighbor, either shall you desire his wife, nor male servant, nor female servant, nor ox, nor donkey, nor anything that is his. Then all the people considered the voices, and the lights, and the sound of the trumpet, and the smoking mountain. And being terrified and struck with fear, they stood at a distance, saying to Moses, Speak to us, and we will listen. Let not the Lord speak to us, lest perhaps we may die. And Moses said to the people, Do not be afraid. For God came in order to test you, and so that the dread of him might be with you, and you would not sin. And the people stood far away. But Moses approached toward the mist, in which was God. Thereafter the Lord said to Moses, This you shall say to the sons of Israel, You have seen that I have spoken to you from heaven. You shall not make gods of silver, nor shall you make for yourselves gods of gold. You shall make an altar from the earth for me, and you shall offer upon it your holocausts and peace offerings, your sheep and oxen, in every place where the memory of my name shall be. I will come to you, and I will bless you. And if you make an altar of stone for me, you shall not build it from cut stones, for if you lift up a tool over it, it will be defiled. You shall not ascend by steps to my altar, lest your nakedness be revealed. Leviticus 13. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, The man in whose skin or flesh there will have arisen a diverse color, or a pustule, or something that seems to shine, which is the mark of leprosy, shall be brought to Aaron the priest, or to anyone you wish among his sons. And if he sees that leprosy is in his skin, and that the hair has turned a white color, and that the place where the leprosy appears is lower than the rest of the skin and the flesh, then it is the mark of leprosy, and at his judgment he shall be separated. But if there will be a shining whiteness in the skin, but it is not lower than the rest of the flesh, and the hair is of unaffected color, the priest shall seclude him for 7 days. And on the 7th day he shall examine him, and if the leprosy certainly has not increased further, and has not spread itself in the skin, he shall seclude him again, for another 7 days. And on the 7th day, he shall evaluate him. If the leprosy has become obscured, and has not increased in the skin, he shall declare him clean, because it is a scab. And the man shall wash his clothes, and he shall be clean. But if the leprosy increases again, after he was seen by the priest and restored to cleanness, he shall be brought to him. And he shall be condemned of uncleanness. If the mark of leprosy has been in a man, he shall be brought to the priest. And he shall look upon him. And when there is a white color in the skin, and it has an altered appearance in its hair, and also the same flesh seems alive, it shall be judged a chronic leprosy, which has grown into the skin. And so the priest shall declare him contaminated, and he shall not seclude him, because he is clearly unclean. But if the leprosy will have flourished, coursing through the skin, and will have covered all the skin from the head even to the feet, whatever falls under the sight of the eyes, the priest shall examine him, and he shall judge that the leprosy that he possesses is very clean, because it has all turned to whiteness, and for this reason the man shall be clean. Yet truly, when the living flesh shall appear in him, then by the judgment of the priest he shall be polluted, and he shall be considered to be among the unclean. For the live flesh, if it is spotted with leprosy, is unclean. And if again it will have turned into whiteness, and will have covered the entire man, the priest shall examine him, and he shall discern him to be clean. But when there has been an ulcer in the flesh and the skin, and it has healed, and in the place of the ulcer there appears a white or reddish scar, the man shall be brought to the priest. And when he will have seen the place of the leprosy lower than the rest of the flesh, and that the hair has turned white, he shall declare him contaminated. For the plague of leprosy has arisen from the ulcer. But if the hair is of the usual color, and the scar is somewhat obscure and is not lower than the nearby flesh, he shall seclude him for 7 days. And if it will have certainly increased, he shall judge him to have leprosy. But if it stays in its place, it is the scar of an ulcer, and the man shall be clean. But if flesh and skin has been burned by fire, and, having been healed, now has a white or red scar, the priest shall examine it, and if he sees that it has turned white, and that its place is lower than the rest of the skin, he shall declare him contaminated, for the mark of leprosy has arisen in the scar. But if the color of the hair has not been changed, nor is the mark lower than the rest of the flesh, and the leprosy itself appears to be somewhat obscure, he shall seclude him for 7 days. And on the 7th day he shall evaluate him. If the leprosy will have increased further in the skin, he shall declare him contaminated. But if the whiteness stays in its place and is not very clear, it is the mark of a burn, and for this reason he shall be declared clean, because it is only the scar from a burn. If leprosy will have sprung up in the head or the beard of a man or woman, the priest shall look upon them. And if the place is certainly lower than the rest of the flesh, and the hair is golden, and thinner than usual, he shall declare them contaminated, because it is the leprosy of the head and the beard. But if he sees that the place of the spot is equal with the nearby flesh, and that the hair is black, he shall seclude him for 7 days. And on the 7th day he shall examine it. If the spot has not increased, and the hair has kept its color, and the place of the mark is equal with the rest of the flesh, the man shall be shaven, except in the place of the spot, and he shall be secluded for another 7 days. On the 7th day, if the mark seems to have stayed in its place, and it is not lower than the rest of the flesh, he shall declare him clean, and, his clothes having been washed, he shall be clean. But if, after his cleansing, the spot will have increased again in the skin, he shall no longer inquire as to whether the hair has turned yellow, because he is plainly unclean. Furthermore, if the spot has not increased, and the hair is black, let him know that the man is healed, and let him confidently pronounce him clean. If a whiteness will have appeared in the skin of a man or a woman, the priest shall examine them. If he detects an obscured whiteness shining in the skin, may he know that it is not leprosy, but a white-colored blemish, and that the man is clean. The man whose hair falls off of his head is bald and clean. And if the hair falls off of his forehead, he is bald in front and clean. But if in the bald head or bald forehead there has arisen a white or reddish color, and the priest will have seen this, he shall condemn him without doubt of leprosy, which has arisen in the baldness. Therefore, whoever will have been spotted by leprosy, and who has been separated at the judgment of the priest, shall have his clothes unstitched, his head bare, his mouth covered with a cloth, and he himself shall cry out that he is contaminated and filthy. The entire time that he is a leper and unclean he shall live alone outside the camp. A woolen or linen garment that will have held the leprosy, in the main fibers or in any of the threads, or certainly in a skin, or whatever has been made from a skin. If it has been infected with a white or red spot, it shall be considered to be leprosy, and it shall be shown to the priest. And he, having examined it, shall close it up for 7 days. And on the 7th day, having looked at it again, if he detects an increase, it is a persistent leprosy, he shall judge the garment to be polluted, along with everything with which it has been found. And because of this, it shall be burned in flames. But if he will have seen that it has not increased, he shall instruct them, and they shall wash whatever has the leprosy in it, and he shall close it up for another 7 days. And when he will have seen that the former appearance has not returned, even if the leprosy has not increased, he shall judge it to be unclean, and he shall burn it with fire, for the leprosy has been infused in the exterior of the garment, or throughout the whole. But if the place of the leprosy has become somewhat darker, after the garment has been washed, he shall tear it away, and separate it from the part that is sound. But if, after this, there will appear in those places which before were immaculate, a flying and wandering leprosy, it must be burned with fire. If it will have ceased, he shall wash with water the parts which are pure for a second time, and they shall be clean. This is the law about leprosy for any woolen or linen garment, in the weave and in the threads, and for all items made from skins, how it must be declared either clean or contaminated. Psalm 73. The understanding of Asaph. O God, why have you rejected us to the end? Why has your fury become enraged over the sheep of your pasture? Be mindful of your congregation, which you have possessed from the beginning. You redeemed the scepter of your inheritance, Mount Zion, in which you have dwelt. Lift up your hands against their arrogance in the end. How great the malice of the enemy has been in the sanctuary! And those who hate you have been glorified, in the midst of your solemnity. They have set up their own signs as a proof. As if it had been issued from on high, yet they did not understand. As in a forest of chopped wood. They have cut down the entrances themselves. With axe and hatchet, they have brought it down. They have set fire to your sanctuary. They have polluted the tabernacle of your name on earth. They have said in their heart, the whole group of them together, let us cause all the feast days of God to cease from the land. We have not seen our proof, there is now no prophet. And he will no longer know us. How long, O God, will the enemy place blame? Is the adversary to provoke your name until the end? Why do you turn your hand away, even your right hand, from the midst of your sinews, until the end? But God is our King before all ages. He has wrought salvation in the midst of the earth. In your virtue you confirmed the sea. You crushed the heads of the serpents in the waters. You have broken the heads of the serpent. You have given him as food for the people of the Ethiopians. You have disrupted the fountains and the torrents. You have dried up the rivers of Ethan. Yours is the day, and yours is the night. You have made the morning light and the sun. You have made all the limits of the earth. The summer and the spring were formed by you. Be mindful of this. The enemy placed blame against the Lord, and a foolish people has incited against your name. Do not hand over to beasts the souls that confess to you, and do not forget the souls of your poor until the end. Consider your covenant. For those who have been darkened upon the earth have been filled by the iniquity of the houses. Do not allow the humble to be turned away in confusion. The poor and the needy will praise your name. Rise up, O God, judge your own case. Call to mind the accusations against you, which are made by the foolish all day long. Do not forget the voices of your adversaries. The arrogance of those who hate you rises up continually.